Hey, what's up guys? Sir Emanon here, back with another episode of Road to 1000 Dueling Book Rating, and this time I'm going to be finally playing the Lunalight Time Thief build that I showcased a while back. Just gonna put a little disclaimer here at the start of the video that this build that I am using is a little bit different from the build I actually showcased. If you haven't seen that deck profile, link to it will be in the description box down below. But yeah, like I always like to tweak around my builds pretty much every time that I play, just trying new things. If I see problems, which, I'm a very detail oriented person, as you guys can probably tell, so I like to just switch things up pretty much every time that I play. So yeah, that's gonna be why you might see some things that are not the same. I will update you guys with a new profile if I do feel that, my list has changed substantially enough to warrant talking about. That is, like, if I changed kind of the core identity of the deck, or if like enough time has passed to where I think the format has shifted. But for now, I think that the build that I posted is a good enough template for you guys to still work off of and make your own modifications as you want to. But yeah, we are actually going to be playing a mirror match here, which is going to be pretty interesting. Yeah, just seeing like the the other takes, I suppose, that people are approaching with the build. But there was something else I was going to say. Oh yeah, my cable obviously came in the mail for my microphone. If you guys haven't seen my post with the community tab, my microphone cable was a little bit broken. I'm pretty sure there was a loose wire in there. But in any case, it wasn't functioning properly, which is why I haven't been uploading as much. I had the episode that I put up on Monday, but yeah, now it's going to be Thursday when you see this. So yeah, apologize that this there's been kind of a lapse in content, especially for you guys who are new to the channel, who are like expecting a lot of new content. I typically try and post like once every couple of days, like every other day ideally. At least that was my resolution for this year. But okay, enough of me rambling there. I'll probably put a timestamp anyway on the screen at the start. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and get into the gameplay here. So yeah, I think I win the die roll and I go first. So here you can see like one of the immediate changes is that I actually am testing on Call by the Grave a bit. The reason being is that everyone's playing DD Crow and Droll and Lockbird, either in the main or side deck. Like some people are opting to main Droll if they're like trying to test for bigger events, which is fine. But DD Crow is like really popular, and that's a card that there's not really a lot of counterplay to, because like even if you open Gamma, like if you get DD Crowed, there's not really a good way to put Lambda on the field. Like you need to use your graveyard in order to put enough bodies, unless you open like multiple dangers. So like if you open dangers with Gamma, then like you risk hitting the Gamma, and like, it becomes like a whole kind of like complex mess. So that's kind of why like I kind of wanted to put Call by the Grave in here, because a lot of the hand traps that affect you early on in your turn structure can't really be mitigated by the Gamma. So I thought Call by the Grave would be a good sort of supplement to that. And then you'll notice like here where like I'm still testing around with the Warrior package. I am obviously back and forth on it and the Danger lineup. I went to locals last week and I played with like a higher danger count, but I ended up not doing super well with it. So I just kind of like defaulted back to this kind of stuff. Just seeing if like I can just increase the consistency. And then like one of the things that I said in the deck profile, if you guys do remember, is that I felt the Warrior package left you really vulnerable to hand traps, but like Call by the Grave kind of definitely alleviates that issue, obviously. So with the addition of Call by the Grave, I felt it was fine enough to justify putting the Warrior package. So like these are the kinds of things that I think about when I try and make the modifications and changes. So that's kind of the line of thinking that you guys can incorporate. And you don't always have to like go off of my builds necessarily. Like you can just kind of look at them and see if you agree with them or disagree with certain parts of them and modify accordingly. That's kind of the whole idea behind my channel, I suppose, is me presenting ideas and information, and for you guys to hopefully expand upon it as you see it fit. But enough of me talking. Let's just finally get into the actual gameplay. So I'm gonna start off with Rhoda. I know typically like what I said is that you'll usually start off with like Kaleido Chick if you have like a choice between it and a Warrior. But like specifically with this hand, like if Greffer gets negated, then it's not like the worst, because like you still have Kaleido Chick access. But as you'll see, he actually opts to use his Gamma on the Greffer, which isn't like terrible for me, but it does get rid of a body on my field. So it makes the resources that I have available to work with kind of awkward. So like if I did want to play around hand traps, like I've kind of been saying, then like Yeah, probably the better play would have been to start off with Collider Chick, but then you can make the argument that, oh, he would have just saved a hand trap for later on. But it kind of just depends on the route he decided to take, because like then again I could have went into or gone into Lambda and then gammaed his gamma, which obviously would have been very beneficial, but it just kind of depended. I feel like most people wouldn't go for the gamma on the Greffer, just because like it seems kind of like a tempting thing to use gamma on, but like not the highest impact thing. Like saving it for a later play like a Force Strix or something seems better in my opinion. But anyways, we're gonna carry on here. So yeah, we're gonna use a Chick to send the Martin, and we have to use Martin here because we are at one summon behind where we normally are. And here we have to kind of make a pretty like wonky play, where we're just like opting to use a redoer and passing on it. And the reason behind that is that so like this is actually a bit of a misplay, by the way. For one, I shouldn't have used a redoer because like now I'm not guaranteed to have a monster under it. So like the whole line behind my play was I was like, oh, I can just banish the redoer then use gamma, and that's like an okay play. Then I can like just play next turn. Because I'm assuming it's the mirror match at this point. Like not many decks are main decking gamma at this point, except the ones that can play the redoer package. So like it's either probably like invoked or the mirror match, and I'm just assuming it's a mirror match because it's on 43 cards. But yeah, like with the redoer, like I should have just kept my monsters underneath it so I can guarantee that I can banish itself so I can have the gamma alive. So that was a misplay there. Another misplay was setting the Serenade Dance. As you'll see later on, like there's a very nice opportunity for me to get rid of the Serenade Dance that he will actually give to me. So yeah, I should have just kept this in hand, not rely on him to like pop it or anything. But we're still like in not a terrible spot because like worst case scenario, we get like not a monster or we don't get a monster, and then like we have other ways to get advantage. But yeah, we're gonna use a redoer, and we do hit a Foolish Goods, which is probably like the worst case scenario, but it's still like not awful. He actually draws a double or nothing for turn, which is kind of interesting. His turn, I don't remember what he said. Oh yeah, no, he said another copy of Foolish Goods. So yeah, he sets Foolish Goods, uses Mothman, and we actually snipe the Mothman. So here's a chance where if I kept the Serenade in hand, like if I did choose to use the redoer, which I shouldn't have, but in the event that I did, like here would have been a great opportunity to use the Serenade Dance. But yeah, I figure at this point that he's just bricked, so I pitch my Mothman just like, I probably should have just ditched the gamma because like there's not really a way for me to like enable it actively unless he just outs my redoer, at which point it's probably already too late. But I choose to just get rid of Mothman, and I don't use its effect because I figure he's on like a bricky hand, which he is, to be fair. And he uses Serenade Dance to pitch a Winder to grab a Collider Chick. Uses Chick to send Martin. He grabs a flyback off the redoer, which he normal summons, so like he's definitely not like in the worst of shapes, but he's not in a great spot either. So he wants to use Martin, and I call by the Grave It, which obviously turns off my own Martin, but like I just need to like try and make sure that he doesn't like actually overwhelm me. I thought he was gonna go for redoer here because he like searched the retrograde, or he searched flyback, which told me he probably had retrograde, but he went for Perpetua instead, which is interesting because like getting Winder back doesn't really do a whole lot for him because he already has the search targets out of the deck, like unless he's playing Bezel Ship, which I mean is like fine, but it doesn't actually advance his plays, whereas like redoer can actually like give him some sort of like board presence, if that makes sense. Like it's more than just a defensive wall because like it's a continual threat that can get him advantage, especially with the retrograde, because like putting spells on a retrograde is like a lot better than putting stuff under Perpetua. So yeah, like misplays are already happening, but this is the worst game out of the three. It gets a lot better after this game. Like this is me just being dumb actually. So yeah, I go ahead and use the redoer in the end phase to draw a card, which is like totally fine. And then we hit a Mothman for turn, which is like okay. We have a lot to work with, and I know he has a retrograde. Like I'm presuming he has it because he searched flyback. So like even if he negates one tide, you still have a second, which is fine. Yeah, so he's using Perpetua and standby, and like that's totally okay. Yeah, he's searching a Bezel Ship, right? I already forgot what had happened this game because I played it a couple of days ago, but. Yeah, so I grab a Tenki off the top. Like you could argue it's risky to take his stuff with redoer, but just in the off chance that I can hit spells, which the deck plays a fair amount of. It plays at least 9. It should play at least 10, but yeah, like this is like a pretty good way for me to get back into the game, I feel. So I'm gonna draw another card here, and now my hand's like fully loaded. Like we went from a very weak hand to back to a strong position because he didn't open that great, and Call by the Grave kind of like saved my turn. But in any case, he's gonna negate with a retrograde on the Tiger, which we kind of saw coming, so no problem. I have a second one. I don't think he needed to scoop actually. Unless if he didn't have another target for his flyback to actually like do stuff with. Like I was outing the board, but it wasn't killing him. He could have possibly gotten back into the game, but he opts to scoop anyway, so that's like all right. I had a very, very strong play. Like also, I think he forgot that I Call by the Grave his Martin, which meant that I couldn't use my Martin, which made my play string a lot more awkward because like all I really had going for me was like a single rank 4 play maybe. Which is fine because it turns on my whole Time Thief engine because like I can just get Perpetua and sit on it, which is fine. But yeah, I think he could have played out the game a little bit more. But anyways, he chooses to go first. He opens a very danger heavy hand, and he interestingly keeps his Foolish in his hand, which I do snipe. So I guess his logic was that like there's not really anything that great to send off Foolish. Because he has Serenade Dance in hand, so like sending Martin to grab his search like wouldn't really be applicable unless he's playing multiple of these. But I mean, granted, if I didn't have Droll, right, he would want this Foolish just so that like he could guarantee send a Lunalight name instead of like relying on a danger to get him there. So I think he should have set the Foolish personally. But in any case, I do Droll him, and that's actually the end of his turn because he just doesn't have a play, like without searching. But yeah, so I go ahead and use Tenki, and then he Drolls me himself, which is all right. Yeah, here I'm just gonna like go through a very simple line, basically pretending like I don't really have, not pretending, but like treating it as if I'm just going through the basic like Chick Tiger line. I want to kill his Mothman, but I also want to summon Dweller, so put me in an awkward spot. Because like neither Dweller nor Lambda can beat over Mothman, so I just had to settle for a Redoer, and I didn't go Gamma or didn't go Lambda because I can't search because I'm under Troll. So I just decide make Redoer, go for like an IP play, so I at least still have a couple of disruptions, and just pass on it. Because worst case scenario, like I interrupt him once, and then like hopefully it'll just weaken his board to the point where I can Dark Ruler him and then just actually clear the board next turn. I grab his Collider Trick off of the Redoer, which doesn't actually help me any, but it's like manageable at this point. So he's gonna go ahead and Tenki for a Tiger, and this is where I'm talking about like he's now kind of just banking on me hitting Serenade Dance or like drawing into something good, because like if this danger hit doesn't work out for him, then he just doesn't have Lunalight plays, whereas if he had kept the Foolish, he'd actually just be able to progress his game state at least a little bit. But yeah, of course I actually hit the Winder, and he draws another Droll, so like right now he just doesn't really have a great play. So yeah, he's just gonna go ahead and scoop it up. Yeah, so like, yeah, I mean, I feel like he could have used Foolish there, and like granted this wasn't like a great showcase of the deck, but it's good enough to kind of like show the interactions where like if you do get stopped or if you don't have like the most optimal of hands, like you can kind of make things work. But yeah, game 1, what I should have done was just not use the Redoer so I can make my Gamma live, or alternatively I could have just gone like the Chick Tiger line. Like the Gamma would have eaten something for sure, but like if I wanted to, I could just go Chick Send Martin. You probably wouldn't Gamma that, and I can go into Lambda and then use Martin. If you want to Gamma that, then I have my own Gamma. So I would have ended on a like Lambda IP Redoer board, which would have been fine. But yeah, like I should have done that, or I could have done Redoer and just pass like without using its effect, and then making the Gamma live with Call by. So yeah, either of those lines I think would have been better, but it's like not too terrible. Because we were able to navigate out of the board. He didn't open super great, and I kind of want to talk about that. So I think like this deck is in a weird spot where a lot of people are opting to main hand traps, But like even besides Gamma, like people are opting to main like Droll and Crow and stuff. But at the same time, like the deck, even when you like try and index towards consistency, like the way that I try to do, like you still end up bricking a fair amount, and like that's kind of troublesome in my opinion. Like it's something that I'm trying to work on resolving because it's an issue that is like very glaring. The other big weakness being the side deck cards, like not Nibiru, but like Nibiru can hurt if you can't play around it, but like Sphere Mode hurts, Dark Ruler especially hurts, Evenly hurts. Like if you don't specifically open Winder or Retrograde, then like you just have no answers to Ruler or to Evenly, and then Sphere Mode just lose unless you like actively try and play around it, which sometimes you can't even do like given the matchup. But yeah, but also Winder sometimes can be bricky. Like it requires you to already be playing the game, so that's also another issue that I'm trying to like sort of resolve. So there's like a couple of things that I have in mind for that, but I'm not going to spoil them quite yet. I will be posting some more gameplay of this deck, so not to worry if you guys aren't quite satisfied with just one game. There will definitely be, or one match rather, there will definitely be more and more videos to come in the future. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like as well as any thoughts or feedback in the comment section down below. Feel free to subscribe for more informative and competitive Yu-Gi-Oh content. If you want to, you can follow me on Discord, Twitter, or Twitch, all three links in the description as always. And once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will catch you in the next video. See you guys!